What is up, Insaners, and welcome to another video of the Fantasy Premier League 2021-22 season. In this one, guys, we'll talk about our team for the upcoming game week, Gameweek 8. We'll cover our transfer plans and we'll end the video with the best captain picks for the week. Guys, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well if you're new around here and you like our content. Also, if you're wildcarding this week or you can't decide where to go for it or not, we did a detailed video talking about the reasons to wildcard, along with a detailed take on each player in the wildcard setup. Guys, it's quite comprehensive and it should help you take the right calls for this week. We've also made another video which talks about the best teams and the best players to target from Game Week 8 to Game Week 13. Make sure you check out both the video, guys. I will add the links to both of them at the end of the video as well as in the video's description. Okay, with that, let's get into our today's video. We'll quickly cover how we did in Game Week 7 and then move on to our team for Game Week 8. So coming to Game Week 7, the review, guys, we scored 62 points and we've come to a total of 503 points, 503 points. And guys, we have an overall rank of 5894, which is 5800. It's almost close to 6000. And I think we're doing pretty good so far. The wildcard definitely gave an edge over a lot of managers this week, guys. And I'm pretty happy with the week and the overall score. Now coming to our defense, it was decent with Ramsdale keeping a clean sheet. The Chelsea defense also worked, guys. And it was the Azpilicueta show as he ended up with 10 points in spite of not keeping a clean sheet. That was huge, guys, and a total of 12 points from him and Rudiger was quite decent. It was also the right call to play Semedo because of the fixture, guys, but he just ended with 2 points and that was a bit disappointing. Nothing was lost, to be very honest, guys, as the other option, Cancelo, he didn't score any points this week against Liverpool, and that was also quite a surprise to most of the managers out there. Now coming to our midfield, and another mixed week, a huge haul from Salah against Man City, guys. That was a bit surprising, but the standout pick was Buemo, guys. He was our main player. Now he has to be our pick of the week, giving us 8 points at less than 1% ownership. It turned out to be a brilliant move by us, guys. Gallagher and Rafinha, they also played okay, but they didn't get anything from their respective games. In attack, Lukaku, guys, he could have hauled big, and it was just one of those weeks where all popular forwards, including Antonio, all of them blanked. Coming to some other players, guys, and let's talk about Jimenez. He turned out to be the right call as he ended the game with 2 assists, scoring 10 points against Newcastle. That was huge, guys, and it definitely helped us score good number of points this week. So overall, pretty happy with the week and the benching decisions in Cancelo and Saka, as especially didn't hurt us a lot. Next week could be a tricky one, guys. Now this week, Game Week 8, guys, it could be a tricky one as we know that Trent will return. I know there's a lot of confusion about Rafinha, about the likes of Lukaku, Rudiger, etc. But hopefully most of these players play for our team, guys, and we don't have a lot of red marks. Now let's talk about our Game Week 8 team and what are the transfer plans for this game week and going forward. So guys, this week it's a bit interesting and we have a lot of dilemma in terms of what players to play and what players to bench. Now we can easily play a 3-4-3 or we can even go for a 4-3-3, which is our current formation right now. Now in goal we have Ramsdale, guys. According to me, he's very underpriced, guys. He should be a 5 million keeper easily. I think he's Arsenal's number 1 and he's definitely more exciting than the likes of Sanchez or even Raya. I was looking at some statistics, guys, and it was all over Twitter as well. He has the best save percentage in Europe's top 5 leagues. I know it's a small sample size, guys, but those numbers are still quite encouraging. I think Ramsdale is my number 1 pick to go for. So even if you are in a wildcard, guys, I think it should be Ramsdale. Maybe Raya could be second, and I think Sanchez would be number 3. I don't think so I'll look at Sa or any other expensive keeper, as I feel these 4.5 options, guys, they're quite valuable and they also allow you to spend other budget and the remaining budget in some other picks and get really good upgrades in your team. So to end it, guys, I think he's the best budget goalkeeper. He's a set and forget option. He's got 3 clean sheets, 3 save points, a total of 24 points in 4 games, and you can't really ask for more. Now let's talk about our defense. Now currently we have the likes of Rudiger and Azpilicueta, which is the Chelsea double up, but that could very well change, guys. Now let's talk about Rudiger first. He's definitely the mainstay of the Chelsea defense. Chelsea have an amazing run of fixtures. They're facing Brentford, Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley, and Leicester in the next 5 games. Now coming to Rudiger, guys, he's played every minute in the league so far. He represents excellent value as he's going to give you a lot of clean sheets. Currently he's given 4 clean sheets and he's also scored a goal. Now, not reading too much into the goal aspect, guys, I don't think so he's very attacking or he presents a lot of goal threat. But if you compare him with the likes of Azpilicueta, I think he could still be a decent option to go for. Now the data suggests, guys, that his bonus point potential is a lot lesser than the likes of Chalobah or even Azpilicueta, but I think at 5.8, he's decent value. Of course, if you get the likes of Reece James, who could be fit in a game week or two, I think he's a better pick, he's a better alternate, but I think among Rudiger and Azpilicueta, I would slightly prefer Rudiger. Just a word of caution, guys. Right now, Rudiger is yellow marked. He might be injured. I think the press conference would make matters a lot more clearer. But I think Rudiger will start the next game against Brentford. Guys, having said that, the Brentford game is not going to be easy, especially considering how they've played against the likes of Liverpool and West Ham. Nevertheless, guys, I think he's the one to go for if you're targeting in one Chelsea defender and if you don't have the money for a 6 million defender. I think Rudiger is the one to go for. This is especially considering that Reece James is not fit right now, guys. And even if you are on a wildcard right now, you can easily make that switch from Rudiger to Reece James in the coming weeks. The other defender that we have in our team, guys, is Azpilicueta. Now, he's slightly more expensive than the likes of Rudiger. And at that price, you can easily contest or you can easily argue for someone like a Ruben Diaz, who's definitely more nailed in that City backline, guys. Yes, I still feel Azpilicueta will play majority of the games and he's a slightly long-term pick. But guys, when Reece James returns in the team, I think that is the time when he might play in the Chelsea setup as a right centre back and he might not get those attacking returns that he's just provided us. That is a slight concern, guys, and especially if you're only looking at a clean sheet potential, I think Rudiger might be slightly better considering he's slightly cheaper as well. So overall, I think Azpilicueta could be my transfer out this week, especially for the likes of Trent, as I've not got Trent in my team right now, guys. Coming to our third defender, and we have Cancelo, guys. We have João Cancelo from Man City. He's 6.2 million currently. Now, he started all the games this season, and he's looked quite attacking. Guys, no doubt that he plays for the best defense in the league. He's a top scoring defender in the league as well. He has the highest expected points for a defender in the league as well, guys. He's got 10 shots, including one big chance. And these are very encouraging numbers for an attacking defender. I think if you're looking at one City defender, and if you have the likes of Chelsea defenders, if you have the likes of Livramento, or any safer defensive options, I think having the likes of Cancelo is a good bet to go for. I think he gives you that safety net. Even if he doesn't play right, you have defenders to cover him up. And I think that's a decent strategy to go for, even if you are on a wildcard. Now, as a 4th defender, because we're playing a 4-3-3 formation this game week, guys, we have Livramento from Southampton, who's playing a Leeds team who've looked very vulnerable defensively. Another very important point is that Leeds is playing away, and that could be great potential, that could be great attacking returns for the likes of Livramento, who's generally looked very attacking in the Saints side. There'll be a lot of pressure on the Southampton team, guys. They have to win this one, and I think Leeds could be a great matchup for them. So I'm taking that plunge, guys, that Saints would get something from the game against a leaky Leeds defense, and I think Livramento could give me some points. Guys, if you are on a wildcard, I think he's still a great option to go for. You can easily play him for the next couple of weeks, and I think he represents great value, being one of the cheapest defenders, being one of the most attacking defenders in the game right now. Now on the bench, we have Semedo, guys. He's playing Aston Villa, who've looked quite attacking, and I don't think so Wolves will keep a clean sheet in this one, and that is why he's on our bench right now. I don't think so I'm going to play Semedo in any case. Guys, there might be a case where I play an extra midfielder in place of Livramento, and let's see, we'll take that call near to the deadline. Right now, guys, we have all these 4 defenders playing for our team, and there could be a transfer, there could be Trent coming in place of one of Azpilicueta or Rudiger. Now coming to our midfield, guys, now Salah is absolutely essential. He's also our captain for the week. He's the best player in the league right now, guys. 70 points, he's averaging 10 points a game. That's more than any player in the league so far. What's the most impressive thing about him is that, guys, he's averaging 4 shots and 1 big chance per game, and those are great numbers for an attacker. I'm pretty sure, guys, that he's going to do very well even in the coming games. I know the coming games are a bit tricky, but what he did against the Man City team, against the best defense in the league, guys, he can do that against the stronger teams. And I think Salah is an essential in your team, guys. If you don't have him, you should already have him in your team. And he's a great captaincy option for this week as well. Now, second midfielder is Saka, guys. Now, I know there's a huge debate around the likes of Saka versus ESR versus Odegaard, but I think Saka is the standout option among all Arsenal midfielders. He's better than both Emil Smith-Rowe and Odegaard when you talk about big chances created, when you talk about goal attempts, even when you talk about metrics like minutes per shot in the box and XGI, which is the expected goal involvements. He's way ahead of both of the players, guys. If you have to bet on one Arsenal midfielder, it has to be Saka. If you don't have the budget, then you can probably consider the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe. But then you have the likes of Buemo in that price bracket, guys. And I think Saka has to be your Arsenal pick if you're looking at a cheap midfielder. The fixtures are okay, they're not that tricky, especially from an attacking point of view. I think they can score a few goals, and I think Saka is going to create chances. He is going to be involved whenever Arsenal score a goal, guys. Whether it's an assist or scoring himself, guys, I think Saka will be involved, and he's my go-to Arsenal midfielder. Now, right now, I have Rafinha in my team, guys. Now, there's a huge doubt, there's a huge debate in terms of whether he's going to feature in the game against Southampton, and there's a good chance there's an absolute chance that he might be rested in that game against the Saints. But having him in my team is absolutely essential, guys. I would say that even if you are in a wild card, you should have him in your team. You can easily bench him for this week. But he has a good run of fixtures. He scored 3 goals. And guys, I think there's more to come from Rafinha. He's also taken 19 shots. He's also created 2 big chances. I think these are great numbers. His creative numbers are up there. And guys, and I think he's still the best option in that 6 to 6.5 million category. I know he's not 6.5 right now, he's 6.6, but I think in that price bracket, he's still the best midfielder to go for. Right now, Bielsa was not very clear in terms of whether Rafinha is going to start this week or not. But let's say if there are any leaked lineups or if he gets certain information that Rafinha is not playing, then he can easily go on the bench and we can have someone else coming in place of him. Currently in our squad, but on the bench for this game week, guys, we have Mbeumo and Gallagher. Now, Mbeumo has been playing out of position up front. We know that he's a great asset. He's one of the better players to go for when we talk about Brentford. And guys, Brentford are getting better every week. Even against the tougher teams now, they're playing really well, especially from an attacking perspective. And I think it'll be interesting to see how they line up against the slightly weaker teams, where I think Brentford could be quite open. They could leave some spaces in defense, but I still feel Mbeumo is the one to go for in that price bracket. As his expected points are higher than his actual points, so we see that there is more potential. There's a lot of untapped space that we can get into. I think Mbeumo has to be in your wildcard team or in your squad if you're looking at a cheaper alternate or a cheaper midfielder. He's got 17 shots, guys. He's also had 5 big chances, and we've seen that he's playing a lot more advanced than the likes of Ivan Toney. I think that spells great from an FPL perspective. I think in the 6.5 million category, Rafinha has to be the pick, and if you're looking at the 5 to 5.5 million, maybe even 4.5 to 5.5 million category, guys, Mbeumo has to be the standout option. Right now, his ownership is also close to 2%, so you can easily get to him very soon, and that could be an advantage position for you over the other FPL managers. Our other player is Gallagher, guys. Right now, he's benched for this particular game week, but I think Crystal Palace in general has been a bit of an unknown. I'm not able to figure out what to make of Palace. They've been generally very good against the slightly stronger teams, and that could still be the case against the Arsenal defense. I know Arsenal defense has improved and has been posting decent numbers, but I still don't feel it's an elite defense. It's a very good defense. I think there are chances that the Palace team can break against Arsenal and they can score against Arsenal, but whether Gallagher will be involved, especially with the likes of Milivojevic coming back and the likes of Olise coming back, I think there is a good chance that Gallagher might not be scoring those many points as we expected earlier. I think with set pieces going, a lot of potential kind of goes away from the Gallagher pick, and especially if Olise plays right, I think the potential to get attacking returns could even be further reduced. For this game week, he's benched, guys. We might consider him next week against a slightly weaker Newcastle defense, where he could still get some FPL points. Now, a lot of people are making a case for Heung-min Son, guys, especially the one on the wildcard. I think when you are on the wildcard, it's a lot easier to get him as opposed to making a regular transfer. Especially when you're making a regular transfer, you will have to downgrade a good attacker, let's say someone like a Jimenez or maybe even Antonio, and go for a cheaper option, or you might even have to downgrade the likes of Trent, maybe even a premium Chelsea or a Man City defender to a regular 4 to 4.5 option, and that might not be the best play out there. No doubt that Son is entirely one of the best FPL assets, guys. He's had an extraordinary last season with that partnership with Kane when he scored 17 goals and provided 13 assists. Now, Tottenham have been pretty poor, guys, but Son has been generally involved in majority of the goals. He scored 3 goals and he's provided 2 assists, so he's for sure going under the radar, guys, but that price point is a bit itchy for me. Especially for my team, guys, without a wildcard, I think it's a lot difficult to get him as opposed to someone who's using the wildcard this week. My only concern with Son is that the team performance of Tottenham, it might impact him, and also Kane is completely out of form this season, and that's a big worry, guys. I know Son can be a one-man show, he can do it all for Spurs, but he's still ranked below many midfielders in terms of statistics for a lot cheaper. I think he's now 10.1 million, and he's 7th for goal attempts, 9th for big chances, and 12th for penalty touches. In terms of fixtures, I think it's pretty okay. Newcastle away now could be a tough game, especially after the whole takeover saga now coming in. and I think that won't be an easy fixture anymore. Then we have the likes of West Ham, Man United and Everton. So I think the fixtures are not that easy. I think you could easily make a case to get him from game week 12. I think that should absolutely be fine. And there's a lot of talk around the Man City mids as well, guys. Now, Burnley could be an easy fixture. It could be a game where Man City score 5 or 6 goals, but we really don't know who's going to start. Now, one thing is for certain, guys, that Torres and Gabriel Jesus, these two might not be available for the game. So that makes the case for the likes of Foden, for the likes of KDB to play this game very easily. But again, these players are not that cheap, guys. Foden is again in the Grealish category. So if you have Grealish, I think that's an easy swap. But if you have to stretch your budget to a KDB, I think that is where you have to downgrade and you have to make certain downgrades in those premium options. Now, what would those options be? Would you be able to let go of a Salah? I don't think so. Would you be able to let go of a Lukaku or maybe a Ronaldo? Maybe a Ronaldo to Lukaku, that switch is possible. But would you altogether let go of a premium forward right now? It might not be the best strategy, guys. Now, having the likes of Phil Foden is a lot easier. Let's say if you have someone like a Mason Mount, who's still a decent option to go for in my opinion, guys. But if you have 8 million or 8.5 million in your budget, guys, if you are looking to not really get Trent, if you've got rid of him on the wild card, and if you have that extra budget available, which you probably used or left for the likes of Trent to come back in your team, you can still use that to upgrade a 5 to 5.5 million midfielder and get someone like a Foden in your team, guys. I know there's a huge risk in terms of starts, in terms of whether he's going to get 90 minutes or whether possibly he only gets 30 to 40 minutes from the bench, but I still feel there are fixtures, there are good fixtures to target, and he can score good FPL points. Yes, he's a huge risk, so you have to have a deep squad. You have to have probably 14 or 15 players in your team who are regular starters so that you can cover off that risk from Phil Foden. Nevertheless, guys, he's still a great option to go for, especially if you are using your wildcard this week. Even in terms of a punt, right, I think it's still a great punt to go for the next couple of weeks. Now, let's talk about a forward, guys. Now, I think the main question right now is not whether we should go for both Ronaldo and Lukaku. I think it's pretty clear having one of them is the straight way to go. I also feel, guys, I still believe that Ronaldo and Lukaku together, they're a bit too much at this stage. Yes, I know Ronaldo can deliver against Leicester, Tottenham, Man City, even Liverpool, but Lukaku's fixtures at the same time, guys, right? He offers a lot more value and there's a lot more potential to get better FPL points looking at those fixtures especially. Now, the issue with Lukaku is that everybody, guys, I mean literally everyone is gonna have Lukaku in their teams. He's not gonna be a differential player anymore. But in case if you captain him, in case if you don't go for the likes of Salah, I think that is where you can differentiate and take advantage of Lukaku. The upcoming games are against Brentford, Norwich, Newcastle and Burnley, guys. I think those are great games to go for. Now, there is a slight issue with him in terms of the muscle fatigue that he got that led to his withdrawal from the Belgium squad, of course. I think the Tuchel press conference is going to shed light on that, but I think he should be okay for the game against Brentford. Now, coming to the Chelsea other attackers, guys, there are a lot of midfielders, there are a lot of attackers that they have, and they can provide for the likes of Lukaku. You have the likes of Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, and even Timo Werner, who will be the supply line for that Chelsea attack. We know that there could be a lot of rotation, especially when we talk about Tuchel as well, guys. But yet, Lukaku has played all 540 minutes since he's arrived from Inter Milan. While not completely immune to rotation himself, I still feel he has the best chance of starting among all attackers for Chelsea. He's got 3 goals so far, and despite consecutive blanks against Spurs, Man City and Southampton, guys, I think the belief in the striker is still going to be very, very high. He was unlucky not to score against Saints. He registered an XG of 0.77, guys, and that was especially thanks to a close range encounter, guys, with the pole. I think another goal was also ruled out for offside, so he could have easily scored in that one, guys, and we as Lukaku owners, we were pretty unlucky. I'm sure that you would have also felt hard done by that Lukaku performance, guys. I think he deserved a goal, but let's really hope he scores in this one. Our other 2 picks are quite standard, guys. We have the likes of Mikel Antonio, who I think is going to be a great option still in spite of the fixtures. His price is decent, guys. His ownership is quite high, and that is one trouble if you don't have him in your team, guys. Because of such high ownership, if he scores and does well, which he can easily do, I think you're going to lose out a lot more as compared to some other picks. If you look at his statistics, guys, he has scored 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 returns. That's a huge number. That gives you an average of 8.1 points per game this season, guys. He's had 3 double-digit hauls, and the best part that he's not yet gotten injured, he's not yet missed minutes. I think that is going to continue in the season. Yes, the fixtures are a bit tricky for West Ham, but I think until he gets injured, he should be in your team. One red mark or one cross against the Antonio pick, guys, could be that all apart from Spurs of the West Ham opponents in the coming game weeks from 8 to 15, they are among the 8 meanest defenses for expected goals conceded this season, guys. So that means they're facing tough defenses, and you can easily make a case for not having Antonio in your team as well. You can go for the cheaper options, which we'll just discuss in a moment, but I think not having him in your team, I think it's a mistake, guys. I think you have to keep him in your team if you're looking to maximize your FPL points. Our third attacker is Raul Jimenez, guys, and this is where it gets quite interesting because there are a lot of approaches that you can follow with the Jimenez pick. I know it was a great moment when he scored, he looks in good form, he also looks more creative as opposed to earlier seasons, and that spells great from an FPL perspective as well. He followed up his goal, guys, by setting up both of Wang's goals against Newcastle, and that spells a great time for the Jimenez owners, guys. Guys, I think he's going to enjoy the upcoming fixtures, especially with 7 of the 11 games. Those are teams who were outside the top 5 last season. Also, his total of 15 shots inside the box, guys, it ranks 4th among all FPL forwards. I think those are great numbers even from an FPL perspective. He's also created most chances, 19 chances, guys, and that's speaking quite a lot when we talk about a forward. I really feel if those Wolves players were more efficient in front of goal, Jimenez could have gotten a lot more FPL points. Another take to this whole Jimenez conversation, guys, is the presence of Wang. And especially with his recent performances, guys, he scored a couple of goals. I think he's providing great value at that 5.6 million price range. And I think there's a lot of conversation on whether you can do a cover up or you can cover up those Wolves, those Jimenez points by having someone like a Wang in your team. I think it's a decent conversation to have. I mean, he's facing the likes of Tony and Armstrong as competition. I think those are great options, guys. If you're in a wildcard, if you're okay taking a bit of risk, I think Wang is the one to go for. But if you're looking for safety, if you're looking for consistent minutes, and you're looking for a 90-minute man, guys, I think Jimenez is your man. Now, an alternate strategy could also be going for someone cheaper like an Ivan Toney or even Armstrong, who both have decent fixtures coming up. Guys, if you're looking at a Brentford double up, that could really be a great option and a great differential option from game week 10 when the fixtures ease up a little bit. I think with Ivan Toney, you get a player who will create chances, who will do a lot of link-up play, and he's also on penalties, guys, especially that cheaper price point. I think he's a great third striker to go for. He did really well against West Ham, and it's a great potential that he can do well against a strong Chelsea side as well. So guys, this was our team for Game Week 8. Who are you bringing in this week? Let me know in the comments below. Now let's talk about our transfer plans and what we are going to do for Game Week 8. As I suggested and as I mentioned earlier, guys, we are going to take out Rudiger or Azpilicueta, one of the Chelsea defenders, and get Trent in our team. I know that he's been declared fit to play this weekend against Watford, guys. He's averaging 7 points per game this season. He's only blanked once in the entire season. I know the fixtures are mixed for Liverpool, but guys, his attacking threat, that's enough to earn his place in our team, and he's straight away going in this week. Now the dilemma is whether to go for Rudiger or Azpilicueta. Now currently I'm slightly inching towards keeping Rudiger and taking out Azpilicueta. That also gives me a little bit more money, guys, in the bank, which could be very, very useful when I'm upgrading my midfield or attack. I don't think so there's any other transfer plans for my particular team this week, guys. I think the midfield is quite decent. I have a decent cover for certain players missing as well. I think we're good to go in other positions. With that done, guys, let's talk about our captain picks for Game Week 8. I think there's one standout pick, guys, and it has to be Mo Salah against Watford. I think it'll be hard to look past Mo Salah this week. He's gonna have really high ownership. So guys, you have to be really brave, and if you're taking a punt, if you are risking it, I think it's a huge risk this week when majority of the people are gonna go with Mo Salah. He's playing Watford, who are the 4th worst defense in the league right now. He scored 70 points already this season, guys, 21 points clear of the second place man, and I think that speaks a lot about his FPL season right now. Still, if you're looking to take a few risks, if you're looking to go differential, if you're looking to go against the tide, you can go for Romelu Lukaku against a Brentford side. Now, we know how open they were against the likes of Liverpool. Even against the likes of West Ham, they were conceding chances, they were conceding shots. I think with Chelsea, it's going to be a lot more similar. There's a high chance that Chelsea could concede in this game, but I think they could easily score a couple of goals, if not more, against a Brentford defense. It's not going to be easy, guys. It's probably not the most straightforward decision, but if you really want to risk it out there, guys, Romelu Lukaku has to be the number 1 option. Now, the third option, I know a lot of people don't have him in their respective teams, but I think if you have Son, if you're going for Son on your wildcard, if you're braving that enough, guys, I think he's a very risky gamble, but he's a great gamble against a Newcastle side who have still looked very poor defensively. I know the whole takeover news would be a huge positive for Newcastle, guys, but I still feel Newcastle as a defense, they look pretty poor, and I think Son has been the standout man for Tottenham. It's clear, guys, if Tottenham is going to do anything, I think Son has to be the main man. Over that, he's playing the Newcastle defense, which is 15th in terms of XGC. I think those are good numbers for a Son owner to target. Now, coming to some alternate captain choices, guys. If you are in a wild card, if you're going for picks like Foden and Kevin De Bruyne, I think both could be decent options against a Burnley team. Burnley generally have looked weak in defense over the last season and this season as well. And this game week, guys, they won't even have Ben Mee. I think that's a huge loss in defense. Over that, Man City are favourites for over 2.5 goals this week. And guys, KDB is a rare locked up option in the City side. He's a perfect option for a wildcard gamble, guys. If you're brave enough, then definitely go for KDB in your team. The other option is Ronaldo against a weak Leicester defense, guys. He's second for XG since his return, and he's playing a leaky Leicester side, so I don't think the fixture is going to put you off a lot, guys. I think Ronaldo has the ability, we all know that he has the chance, he has the ability to score against any defense in the world, and Leicester is definitely not up there, right? He can easily score against Leicester, guys, and if you are not going for the likes of Lukaku or Salah, and if you have Ronaldo in your team, I think he's also a great alternate captaincy option. So who are you captaining for Game Week 8? Do let us know in the comments below. That'll be all from my side, guys. I really hope you'll find this video helpful in setting up your final team for Game Week 8. Make sure you hit the like button if you liked our team selection video. That'll help us reach more people on YouTube and help more FPL managers like you. Guys, also consider subscribing to the channel if you're new around here. We'll be back now for the deadline stream. That'll be an hour and a half before the deadline. So do join us if you have any last minute questions or transfer queries. All the best to all FPL managers, guys. Enjoy your week and I'll see you Insaners next time.